enough? Are we loud enough? Oh, that wasn't loud enough. No. There. That should do the trick. How's that? There. Can you hear me? Is it good? Can you hear me? I think you can hear me. I'm just making sure everything's up. That looks up. Yeah. Okay. Yes, people are testing. So we're making cornbread. Hi. Can you hear me? You can hear me? It's just checking. You can hear me, right? You can totally hear me. Hi. Jane, can you hear me? I just checked. I think the sound's good, right? I was just making sure. Sound was funky last night. Sounds good. Sounds is good. Alrighty. So what are we doing? We are making old-fashioned corn, super old-fashioned cornmeal. We are using the infamous Albert's. This brand's been around forever. Laura Ingalls probably used this. This is Albert's enriched and degermed yellow cornmeal, or harina de maize. Maize. We call it maize. This stuff's great. This is all you need. It's not a mix. We'll have to do things from scratch, but that's what we call it. Who's going to do the cooking? Because we can totally show you how to do this. It's not hard. It is not hard. I was making this when I was a small child. This is so easy. Yes, you have to add more things to the cornmeal, but it's like, add this, then add this. Ding! Put it in the oven. It's not hard. So, what you want is cornmeal. This is the stuff. Plain cornmeal. Now, many people complain that people make cornbread too sweet. If you are a southerner, people in the South want it straight up. They don't want it too sweet. They want a savory dish that you have with your beans, or your chili, or your meat. Some people like their cornbread super sweet, like cake. Or they do that weird thing where they put in the thing where it's got the corn and the whatnot and the thing. I'm like looking good. What is all this? I have a button. No, I don't want that. What do I want? What's that? No, I don't want that. Look at all my things here. So, the cornmeal. I'm so scratched. People put corn in red peppers and green peppers. I've had it. It's cute. It's not really cornbread. It's a casserole. It's a whole other dish. This one, see, has this. What you want is this one. There is a recipe for sweet corn muffins. See, there it is. Sweet corn muffins. That's the one that has the extra sugar. We're going to make the cornbread, classic cornbread. Here we go. This recipe has appeared in Albert's packages for years. And it's because it only has 1/4 cup. 1/4 cup. Tiny quarter cup of sugar, and you can put less. You can actually put less. I found this out because I had a friend, and she was in the hospital, and she said, I hate this place, I hate this hospice because they make Yankee cornbread. It's too sweet. It's Yankee cornbread. I was like, I beg your pardon? And I was like, why would it be sweet? And I went home and I made cornbread the way I always do, and I brought it in, and she's like, you're not Southern. You're from New York. You are not. You are a Yankee. Why? You did not make Yankee cornbread. You made real cornbread. So excited. So here's what we're doing. So it's like I said. This is like dumb easy. My oven's already hot because you know I made some before, right? You know I test these things out. Now you need this. I got these eggs. You only need 1 egg, but I couldn't resist them because look, brown eggs. Brown eggs are 3 cents less a dozen at the mercantile. No, they're not. Brown eggs are awesome. A nice big one. This is a nice big one. Look at that one. That's beautiful. We're going to have that one. Eggs are brown eggs is actually, it has to do with what chicken, the different chickens lay different color eggs. That's it. That's the whole thing. The whole brown egg, white egg thing. No, it's because different chickens. But in America, we are obsessed with white eggs. Do you know in France? Almost all brown eggs in the store. In France, when they watch that episode where Mrs. Olson says brown eggs are 3 cents less a dozen, and they're going on and on about white eggs, I've had my French friends go, so, white eggs. You have white eggs. Where are these white eggs? There are people in France who've never even seen a white egg, because their chickens don't lay the brown eggs. I'm putting the eggs in the fridge! And of course, some countries they don't put the eggs in the fridge, because they're chickens are free range. They're probably fine out of the fridge though. So, what am I doing? Moving things out of my way for a second. Yeah, so first things first, before we even bust open an egg, you want a little bowl. You want a nice little bowl. And you want the cornbread. Here, I already opened this one, so what the heck, right? We'll do that. And it can't get much simpler than this. It's 1 cup. Shaky. A little more. 1 cup cornmeal. Ta-da! Well, that's how hard that was. 1 cup flour. Like I said, even the measurements are not complicated on this recipe. I am telling you this. Tap, tap, tap. Tappy, tap. Tappy, tap, tap. Thing. A little more, a little more. I want to make a mess. That's more than enough. And then we dropped it on the floor. If I was Julia Child, I'd pick that up. So, 1 cup flour. And this one, in most baking, you have to be super, super, super exact. Like if it's like it won't set, the souffle, it won't rise. Cornbread's very forgiving. If you're off by the littlest bit in your flour and cornmeal, the cornbread really won't care. It's great. I'm on the floor and throwing it in the sink. So I like that because that's one of the things about it is that it's very forgiving. You can make mistakes. Now, here's where it gets more exacting. How Little House of the Prairie is this? Look, it's the Olsen Spork. It's Clabber Girl. It is Clabber Girl baking powder. We love this so much. And what we want the big spoon. Where's my big spoon? Come back. There it is. Tablespoon. We actually are putting an entire tablespoon of baking powder in there, which that you want to be more exact because baking powder is a chemical. Now we're into chemistry, not baking. So you want this here, and ta-da, there's baking powder. That's how hard that was. I'm like sneaking things out of my way as I go. So then, sugar. Now here's the thing. I don't like too much sugar in this thing. And the recipe says 1/4 cup, 1/4 cup, which as you see is not very much. It's this little, it's very tiny, it's tiny. But if I were to put slightly less, it would be freaking delicious. Now remember, in the books, a little more. Yeah, there, oh, that's too much. There you go. So there you go, that's 1/4 cup. We'll go with the whole quarter. There we go, done. Now, in the books, if you recall, Ma doesn't even have flour or sugar. She just has the cornmeal. And she makes cornbread. And what does she do? She literally, all Ma does, Ma takes the cornmeal and water. She takes this and water and mixes up into little clumps and cooks it on an open fire on the bricks or of the fireplace or on some rocks or on a cast iron pan with nothing. No eggs, no milk, no sugar, and just cooks that. And then, it's fascinating. So, then we need salt. Now, I'm like, I don't like to add a lot of salt to things. I don't like to add a lot of salt to things. But this is, we're into chemistry here. Yes, this is my Underdog glass. Remember last night we were talking about my mother and Underdog? Where is my Underdog? Oh. So, in this case, salt. But look, it's a teaspoon. And again, it's a chemistry thing. There it is. There's a 1/2 teaspoon. I love these. Aren't these cute? And this one is red. Little one. 1 teaspoon. And you don't want any more than that. But it's a chemistry thing. The salt interacts with the baking powder and the liquid, which causes the cornbread to rise. Barely. Boop. That's that. Throw those in the sink. And I'm going to put my salt away. I hardly ever use this. It's like recipes for me. I'm like, poof, there, that's enough. I don't like a lot of salt and things. I don't like it too salty. And then Bob, my husband Bob, as you know, Bob, he's supposed to be on a relatively low salt diet. Doctor's like, salt. So he stopped eating a lot of salt, like the potato chips and the Cheetos. He doesn't really eat very much salt. And so I started eating less salt. So now when we eat something that's relatively salty, we're like, oh my God, it's like a salt, we freak out and go, oh, it's so salty. And it's like, it's not really that salty. And so sometimes I'll taste something and go, okay, this is salty for us. It's not salty for normal people, but this is salty for us. Like, give them fair warning. because they're, so this is the dry ingredients. Ta-da! So now we need wet ingredients. What do we need in wet ingredients? Milk. And I'm using my non-fat because that's what I have in the house and I kind of like it. But you can use whatever milk you have. And it's a whole cup. Now this, of course, as you see, is a giant measuring cup. Where's the cup? I got cornbread all over it. There, boom, one cup milk. That's easy. Back in the fridge. Then, this is where it gets fun. vegetable oil. Now, I'm sure when Ma Ingalls did make cornbread with shortening, with oil, she probably used lard or pork fat and salt pork or straight butter. But we use good old oil. This is Mazola canola oil. It's supposed to be good for you. So I am told. I don't know. But that's what they said. It said in the commercial. It's supposed to be good for me. And what I want is a third, not a half, not a whole, not a quarter, a third of a cup. Yeah. I always keep a little vegetable. I cook almost everything in olive oil. I love the olive oil. I use olive oil or a totally nonstick pan, but I need that oil because I make popcorn. And you have to have regular oil to make popcorn. So, now if you love the salt, yeah, well, there you go. You can add a little more. So now I've got milk and Coca-Cola and oil and an egg, and I have these dry ingredients. Oh, look, it's time for the wet ingredients. Now, I have to sit. You can tell I like, you know I made cornbread before this, and I'm going to do the magic, like, look, I have cornbread already. But we're going to show you how to do this. There. So, what we need is egg. Oh, look, it's like Percival on the show. Do the thing. See? There you go. Well, we're not separating them, so we just did that, so it's fine. I think I did it without getting any shell in. You know, you got to be careful. It won't hurt you, you know. It won't really hurt you if you get eggshell in there. But who wants eggshell? Yeah, crunchy. So I've got the one egg. Now, I like to beat the egg a little. Get it all, you know, broken up there. Whee! Then my third of a cup of oil. And I'm going to be careful because that's more than a third of a cup. Yes, it is. Is that a third of a cup? That is more than a third of a cup. I overpoured. Well, overpouring. Well, we've heard about that. Yes. So, perfect. There we go. Then, this is my cup of milk, and this is perfect. This is a cup of milk. Ta-da! So now what? Well, now, we mix this. You know the wire whisk. We're all about the wire whisk. The wire, anytime, also especially when you have eggs, we like to use the wire whisk. And what I'm doing is, again, like the scrambled eggs thing, look how I'm getting bubbles. Foamy, foamy, foamy. We're going to go a little foamy. I'm going to tilt. We're going to tilt a little tilt-a-whirl. I'm going to turn my oven back on. My oven runs so hot. I had this on earlier, and it's still, like, so hot. It's ridiculous. So I actually turned it off. See, Ian, look, it's getting all foamy and fluffy. That's always nice. You want a nice, fluffy quality to your cornbread. And then, da-da-da-da. Yeah, that was hard. That was real hard, right? To dump. And then we're going to stir. You might want a bigger bowl if you're not into this, like you don't do this all the time. Tilty, tilty, up. You may want a bigger bowl so that you don't have any spillage if you're not accustomed to mixing large amounts of things on a regular basis. But look at that. It's mixing up. It's gorgeous. Now comes the question of what kind of a pan are we going to put this in? Spatula thing. I got a little scrapey thing to get it all off the edges. Look how easily that mixes up. And you don't want to overmix it. You can even have a couple of lumps. It's more like pancake batter than like cake or a lot of things. You don't need to whip it. You don't need to make it smooth. You just need it mixed. See, that's done. That's done. Now, personally, this is my favorite thing to put it in is a nice big glass dish. My other favorite thing to put it in is little tiny little muffin pans to make darling itty bitty little corn muffins because they're just so freaking good. So I think we'll do a little of that for this, for greasing, I'm gonna just do the cheap and dirty way, like a little spray stuff. I think I have a little of this left. Yeah. You can use like muffin paper cups. You could grease it with anything you want. I'm going to do that. This is a slight level of difficulty because you actually have to get it in the tiny little cups. And so I have to be careful. But there it goes. And not too much, not too much. You don't fill them all the way. Do not fill them all the way. They'll go bloop. They will totally go bloop. So you don't want to do that. Someone says, I love that you have a normal house. Okay, well, if I pulled this camera shot out wider, you'd go, that's not a normal house. That's a mess. But there you are. We do that. So, bloop, bloop, and bloop here. Little bloop. And a little bloop there. It's working. It's working. Oh, my God, it's working. Okay. More bloop. Bloopy bloop, and good enough. Wipe that. Paper towel. I mean, if you left it, it's fine. It won't hurt anything. It's just you'll have little dry cornbread all over the edges of the thing. And then you would pop that into a very, very hot oven. Now, how hot is this oven? This says that it wants the oven to be 400 degrees. 400 degrees! That's very hot. You might go slightly less. My oven runs really hot. I'm like, whoa, 400 degrees. But 400 degrees, and they talk about using an 8-inch square baking pan. But you can do the little muffins. You can do this. When you do this, the little muffins, they take slightly less time. The traditional baking time for this, it says, if you put it in their size pan, 20 to 25 minutes, or until a wooden pick inserted comes out clean. 20 minutes tops, I'm telling you, unless your oven doesn't run very well or something. Now, I'm dumping the rest of it into this lovely pan, because I'm not going to do the whole thing. Cornbread, nom nom nom. We love the cornbread. Good enough. See, looks like that. And into the oven. That's at 400, well, just under 400 degrees, because my oven is so hot. And it says 20, 25 minutes. I would check it in like 15. I would say like in 18 minutes it could totally be done, because it's that glass pan, those little muffins. It's not going to take 25 minutes. It could take 15 to 18. I would check it then. I sometimes set a timer on my phone. So we know, like, what time is it now? 12:04. By 12:24, those are going to be out on the oven. Go like, absolutely no way. So what are we going to do? Because that's a really long time. And however shall we try the cornbread when it's so long to wait 20 minutes? Well, not difficult. What we're going to do, I'm going to get some butter. Or my Brummel. Where's my Brummel? I did my Brummel yet. No. Because we're going to need some Brummel. And what did Laura put on our cornbread? Remember in the book, they were making all this weird stuff with the salt pork. And every time they had the cornbread, which was just like the cornmeal and water, they put molasses on it. They were like, here, girls, here's your dinner. And it was dinner. It was like the evening meal supper. Here's half a prairie chicken, a hunk of dry cornmeal and water baked on a fire with no shortening sugar, and we'll just dump some molasses over it. And that's your dinner, girls. And this is literally what Mrs. Ingalls was serving them. And I'm kind of like, ew, but all right, I guess so. I guess you can do that. So here's what we have. Yes, I went totally Ma Ingalls this morning. And I did make it in the cast iron skillet. I did. I have a cast iron skillet. There. I greased the cast iron skillet with the vegetable oil. I put some vegetable oil in it, took a paper towel. There you go. And there it is. Look, it's brown on top. And yes, when I did, I went, yes. Do you know the blonde joke about sticking a knife in something till it comes out clean? Oh my God, I love this joke. So this blonde is taking a cooking class. Mine's a rinse bed. This is not real. And she was told to go check if the cake was ready. And she said, what do I do? And they said, well, stick a knife in it and see if it comes out clean. She said, okay. And she comes back sometimes later and says, okay, yeah, it's done. It's great. And they said, did you put a knife in it? I did. And it came out so clean. I put all the other knives in there too. So, no, don't use cake to wash your knives. So, cake! What are we doing? Is it going to come out? Now, this will be the trick. This is a cast iron skillet, and I just like greased it up with vegetable oil and shoved it in the oven. Let's see. Is it going to stick to the pan? Or is it going to pop right out? We will now discover. Look at that. Popped right out of the pan. Nothing stuck. It's perfect. It popped right out of the pan like nothing to it. Look at that. Moist, corn-like, chewy, and not, not too greasy and not too dry like poor Ma Ingalls and her corn pone. Her cornmeal mush that she's baked up. So I'm going to put this on a little plate because we need a little butter. How are these guys doing? Oh, these guys are doing great guns. Okay, good. Have butter. Little bit of butter, yeah, because that's super good on it. It does go well with the butter. The butter. La 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 la. There we go. Butter, butter, butter. Now I'm gonna try it first with the butter. It's way too much butter. That's plenty. And see if this is good. That's really good. Now, there's Ma Ingalls in the middle of nowhere in Kansas. And the girls are having a freshly killed prairie chicken. And she burns up some cornmeal and water on the stove. And then puts molasses on it. Blah! Oh, that's terrible. This looks bad. Says, there's your dinner, girls. And here, yeah. This is cornbread with molasses on it, like a la Ma Ingalls. I know. It's going to be way too sweet. It's going to be gross. I don't know. I'm going to ew. Well, now, because molasses is a weird taste. Molasses isn't completely sweet. Molasses has a sort of like sharp, smoky, like barbecue. Molasses has a smoky barbecue. You know, c'est pas de chocolat, no pas de chocolat. C'est molasses, comme la petite maison. But it has sort of a smoky taste, so it's not completely sweet. No, I cannot believe that the Ingalls just ate this for dinner. That's like weird. The crunchy edges, the crust. Oh, look at that. This is really good with butter. Oh, honey. It's good with honey. The honey not. But because it's not... Oh, look. Here's the little crumbly bits from the edges. Because it's not overly sweet, because it's just got the 1/4 cup of sugar. Nom, nom, nom. It's really good with fried chicken, chili. It's really good with chili. Baked beans, any of that stuff, chili. It's good with those kind of meals. Greens, if you know how to make collard greens, fried chicken and collard greens, gravy. It's good. It's good at Thanksgiving. The little muffins with turkey and gravy, so good. Or just plain butter. But it is very good with things like chili and barbecued food, barbecue ribs, barbecue chicken, whatever you make, or fried chicken. Totally goes. Yes, the best with chili. So awesome with chili. It's really good. The muffins are adorable because the muffins, being the mini muffins, they're like all crust because they're almost crunchy on the outside. They're nice and cooked on the outside, and they're so here you get a lot of the middle of the cornbread, which is all soft. And then you have the outside for, the crunchy edges. There you go, here, the crunchy edges. But with the muffin, you get, like, all crunchy edges. So, that's why it's good. And they don't take as long to bake. This is freaking delicious. Nom, nom, nom. That's how you make, how quickly, okay, that, it was nothing, right? I was like, put the dry stuff in this bowl. 1 cup of this, 1 cup, it's not complicated. A cup of this, teaspoon of this, tablespoon of that. There's no half teaspoons. It's a teaspoon of salt. It's a tablespoon of baking powder. It's 1 cup of flour. It's 1 cup of cornmeal. You can memorize this recipe. It's a 1/4 cup of sugar. Done. The other bowl, it's 1 egg, 1 cup milk. Oh, a third. That's the only complicated one. A third of a cup of oil. And then you just dump them into the bowl and stir them until they're mixed. And then pour them into a container that you can put in your oven. And then keep an eye on them. I'm actually looking at this because I was saying, well, we're not going to be here. I baked this in case, we didn't have time for this to be done. But I'm going to let you peek. It's crazy. I'm going to let you peek at the little muffins just so you can see how they're coming. See how they pop up. Those are going to be done soon. I'm going to have to eat one of them. The stuff in the glass pan, of course, is going to need at least another 10 minutes or whatever. So there you go. Now, I have to get going. We're talking about whether we're going to read today. I have to go to the dentist. I'm going to go brush my teeth after this. But I'm going to the dentist this afternoon. It's my checkup. It's a checkup and a cleaning. He's going to make sure I've been flossing and everything works. So it should be totally fine. I don't know, maybe when I get back from the dentist, if it's not too late, I'll put up notice. Maybe I'll read then. I mean, if nothing goes wrong, if he doesn't say, "Ha, you have a cavity," and like break out the Novocaine and it becomes a thing. I don't think so. I think it's all fine in there. Because I usually am like, look, ma, no cavities. So, hopefully it'll be fine. My dentist is a very nice person. He's not painful at all. He's a lovely man. So I will be at the dentist in a bit. And then if I get home in time and don't have Novocaine, maybe we'll read, because we're getting heavy into the Indians there in Kansas with Laura. The Osage tribe they're gonna be going, and then the settlers have to go, and there's gonna be a lot of moving, and it's getting very complicated and difficult, awkward conversations with Laura and her mom about the Osage. So, that'll be a thing. You can be hilarious if I got a filling and I came back with Novocaine. And puff it. And you know I'd probably do it because it'd be funny. All right, so that is how you make cornbread. And like I said, you bake it like, it says 20, 25 minutes. 18, because it really doesn't take that long. And I keep checking because I think those little mini muffins are going to be done any second after I'm stalling. Otherwise I'd say, well, we're done. I baked you the thing. It's fine. You saw the thing. Those look pretty darn good. Should I pop one out? I popped one out. Is that done? That is almost done. I can take one out. I'm taking that one out there. Look, this literally popped out of the pan. No knife or anything. Ridiculously hot. Okay, don't do that. Ow. But it's super tiny. Knife. And, yeah, it's done. It's like just done. Look at the steam coming out of that. But that's done. That's done. I would go like 2 minutes longer. Get them a little brown on top, little crispier. But as you see, oh, delicious. So that is how you make little baby muffins. They are really good at parties. I will get like, I have this basket. It's like a Toto basket. It's like, looks like Toto should be. I will get my little basket and fill it with those little towel, little checker cloth, and then put those little mini muffins in it. And I take those to a party. People go crazy. They think I've been cooking all day, but as you see, it takes like nothing. And they are a huge hit. They are a big hit at parties. So you can always take those if you have to go to a potluck. Thank you. This has been Who's Going to Do the Cooking. I love this. These aprons. These aprons are awesome. And I will see you possibly later today or certainly tomorrow at the very latest. Thank you very much. Be sure to use pot holders when you touch anything that is anywhere near or in an oven. All right. See you soon. Thank you.